Hello everyone. Let us talk about the IPO boom in India. In the last 2 years, we have seen that a lot of big IPOs were there. And if we talk about the year 2021, then a big sum of 17 billion US dollar was the amount that was invested in the IPOs by institutional investors as well as the common public. So let us first understand that what is an IPO. So when a company requires fund, or generally startups require fund, then they have two options of gathering up that fund. First is they take loans from banks, from friends, relatives, and the other option is to take investments. When the startups or the companies take investments from the public, from the general public, you and me, then they have to go to the stock market and they have to list their company on the stock market, and therefore they can give certain equity or certain share of their company to the common public, and and from there they can get funds, and that is called IPO. That is initial public offering. In that, the company lists itself for the first time on the stock market. So, as I talked about that the last 2 years were huge for Indian companies. If we talk about the IPOs, because over 110 companies were there who in the year 2021 who benefited from the IPOs by listing themselves on the stock market. So let us talk about what were the reasons behind it. So the first reason was that a big retail participation was there. There was a big hype of IPOs in the years of 2020 and 21. The retail investors, as they were at home, they were alone, and the other things like real estate and gold were not giving that high returns. So they started investing in the stock market, and also they started investing in the IPOs of different companies. So a big retail participation was there. Hence the stocks, hence the shares, the IPOs were many times overpriced, many times oversubscribed, and hence the companies benefited from them. Second is that there was a lot of money inflow. There was a lot of cash inflow in the markets because the US has printed a lot of dollars. Trillions of dollars has been printed in the US, and hence the global market is full of money, full of foreign reserves, and that is why all the companies benefited in the IPOs. Another thing is that the market was having a certain momentum till recently, because if we talk about prior to the Omicron variant, then the stock market was having a huge momentum. It is called the bull market. The market was rising up without any questions. Many experts said that it is a bubble and it will burst. It didn't burst, but recently it has slowed down. But till 2021, we saw that there was a big bull market, and the IPOs also benefited from it. Another thing is was that because the lockdowns were opening, the companies were getting back on track. So the financial statements of different companies were positive. There was strong earnings, and hence investors were very keen to invest in the companies. That is why they invested, and the companies who got themselves in the share market listed were benefited hugely. Like we saw, for example, we saw companies like Zomato, Policy Bazaar, Nika, some pharmaceutical companies were benefited hugely by the IPO boom. Also, there were some failures like Paytm. Paytm was a failure because it was not that high subscribed, and it was not that high multi-bagger stock. Because if I talk about the IPOs, then the average was about 100% of returns. Like if someone subscribed an IPO and he got the IPO, then on the next day of listing of the IPO, one can get even up to, on an average, 100% of returns. That is like the money has got doubled in a span of about 1 month, less than 1 month. So, but that was not the case with Paytm because of lacking fundamental strongness. But that was an exception. Most of the IPOs were very benefiting for the companies and also for the subscribers of those IPOs. So, what can we expect next? What are the repercussions, or what are the effects of this IPO boom? First is that many startups would have got the motivation to get themselves listed on the stock market, uh, and hence they can get huge investments for carrying out their businesses, expanding their businesses. That is good. Promotion of startups are there. Another thing is that it creates a very good and strong pipeline for the companies that are thinking about launching an IPO. So the future seems to be also secured. Another thing is that uh, Another thing is that a lot of government IPOs will be coming. Like soon we will see the IPO of LIC, the life insurance company, and due to this momentum, government will also benefit because it is also moving towards privatization, and it is also going to list many of its companies on the stock market. And so yes, that was all about the IPO boom in India, and the future is very good because if people benefit from IPO, then the companies will also benefit from IPO. The company have funds, then they can carry out their operations, they can carry out their businesses, and hence the economy of the country will become strong because that is the only way to strengthen the economy by promoting businesses. So yes, that was about IPO boom in India. Thank you very much.